Namo Buddhaya. Have you ever paused in the middle of your daily routine, perhaps while scrolling through your phone or stuck in traffic, and felt that gnawing question creep into your thoughts? What is the purpose of all this? It's a question that transcends cultures, time, and place. A question that has troubled humanity for millennia. Over 2,500 years ago, one man not only asked this question, but also set out to answer it in a way that would alter the course of history. This is the story of Siddhartha Gautama, better known as the Buddha, a prince who left behind a life of unimaginable luxury to embark on a journey of self-discovery and enlightenment. His teachings have inspired millions and continue to resonate with people seeking meaning and peace in a chaotic world. But to truly understand why Gautama became the Buddha, we must delve deep into his life, his challenges, and the timeless lessons he left behind. A childhood of splendor. Siddhartha Gautama was born in Lumbini, a small kingdom near the foothills of the Himalayas. According to legend, his birth was marked by extraordinary signs. Queen Maya, his mother, dreamt of a radiant white elephant entering her side, a vision interpreted by astrologers as a prophecy that the child would grow to become either a great king or a revered spiritual leader. From the moment he was born, Siddhartha's life seemed destined for greatness. Stories tell of how he took 7 steps immediately after birth, with lotus flowers blooming beneath his feet. At each step, he declared, "This is my final birth." While such tales may be symbolic, they reflect the extraordinary expectations placed upon Siddhartha. His father, King Shuddhodana, was determined to shape him into a powerful ruler. To ensure this, he shielded his son from anything that could cause distress or prompt existential questioning. The young prince grew up surrounded by opulence, lavish palaces, extravagant feasts, and every conceivable pleasure. But despite this life of luxury, something stirred within Siddhartha. Even as a child, he displayed remarkable intelligence and curiosity, excelling in philosophy, martial arts, and leadership. He married the beautiful Yasodhara, and they had a son, Rahula. To an outsider, Siddhartha's life seemed perfect, but inwardly he wrestled with a sense of emptiness, a longing for something beyond the confines of his gilded existence. The 4 Sights. The turning point in Siddhartha's life came when he ventured beyond the palace walls for the first time. Accompanied by his charioteer, Channa, he encountered 4 sights that would shatter his sheltered worldview. The Old Man. For the first time, Siddhartha saw an elderly man, frail and bent with age. He realized that aging was inevitable, a fate that no amount of wealth or power could escape. The Sick Man. On another journey, he witnessed a man writhing in pain from illness. This sight revealed the inescapable reality of suffering and physical vulnerability. The Corpse. A funeral procession exposed Siddhartha to the reality of death, a stark reminder of life's impermanence. The Ascetic. Finally, he encountered a wandering ascetic, a man who had renounced worldly possessions in pursuit of spiritual truth. Unlike the previous sights, this one inspired hope. Siddhartha saw in the ascetic a path that might lead to answers about the suffering he had witnessed. These encounters ignited a fire within Siddhartha. He realized that his life of privilege had shielded him from the fundamental truths of human existence. Driven by these realizations, he knew he could no longer remain within the palace walls. The Great Renunciation. Leaving behind his wife, child, and royal responsibilities, Siddhartha embarked on a quest to discover the nature of suffering and the path to liberation. This decision, known as the Great Renunciation, was not made lightly. It was a moment of profound sacrifice, fueled by a deep sense of duty, not to his family alone, but to all humanity. Siddhartha's journey began as a wandering ascetic. He sought out renowned spiritual teachers of his time, mastering their meditative techniques and philosophical doctrines. Yet, despite achieving profound states of concentration, he felt that these practices did not address the root cause of suffering. The middle way frustrated, Siddhartha turned to extreme asceticism, joining a group of 5 ascetics who believed that self-mortification was the key to enlightenment. For years, he pushed his body to its limits, surviving on a single grain of rice a day and enduring unimaginable physical hardship. His body became emaciated, yet enlightenment remained elusive. One day, Siddhartha realized that neither indulgence nor extreme deprivation led to liberation. This insight marked the birth of the middle way, a path that avoids the extremes of self-indulgence and self-mortification, advocating instead for a balanced approach to life. Nourished by a bowl of rice milk offered by a village girl named Sujata, Siddhartha regained his strength and prepared for his final confrontation with the truths of existence. Enlightenment under the Bodhi tree. Siddhartha seated himself beneath a large fig tree in Bodh Gaya, vowing not to rise until he attained enlightenment. His meditation was marked by a battle against Mara, the embodiment of ignorance and desire. Mara unleashed storms, temptations, and fears, but Siddhartha remained unmoved. As the morning star rose, Siddhartha achieved a profound realization. He saw the interconnectedness and impermanence of all things and understood the 4 noble truths. He had become the Buddha, the awakened one. The Noble Eightfold Path. The Buddha's teachings, centered on the 4 noble truths and the Noble Eightfold Path, provided a practical guide to liberation. This path emphasizes ethical conduct, mental discipline, and wisdom, offering a way to overcome suffering and achieve inner peace. Spreading the Dharma. For the next 45 years, the Buddha wandered across northern India, teaching people from all walks of life. His teachings transcended social boundaries, welcoming kings, merchants, beggars, and women alike. Stories like that of Angulimala, the bandit turned monk, illustrate the transformative power of the Buddha's compassion and wisdom. Modern relevance today, the Buddha's teachings continue to inspire. Practices like mindfulness and meditation have gained global recognition for their ability to reduce stress, enhance focus, and foster compassion. Scientific studies validate the transformative effects of these ancient practices, bridging the gap between spiritual wisdom and modern science. The early followers and the Sangha. After attaining enlightenment, the Buddha did not retreat into solitude to bask in his newfound understanding. Instead, he chose to share his wisdom with the world. His first sermon at the deer park in Sarnath laid the foundation of the Buddhist community, or Sangha. Among his initial followers were the 5 ascetics who had abandoned him when he renounced extreme practices. Drawn to his serene presence and profound teachings, they became his first disciples. The Sangha grew rapidly, including individuals from all walks of life. The Buddha's inclusive approach, teaching that enlightenment was not limited to any specific caste or social class, challenged the rigid hierarchies of ancient Indian society. Kings and commoners, women and men, the rich and the destitute, all found refuge in his teachings. One notable story is that of Anathapindika, a wealthy merchant who became one of the Buddha's most devoted lay followers. He used his fortune to build monasteries and support the Sangha, exemplifying how material wealth could be used to serve a greater purpose when detached from greed. Compassion in action. Stories from the Buddha's life. The Buddha's teachings were not merely theoretical, they were profoundly practical and transformative. His life was filled with examples of compassion in action. One of the most memorable stories is that of Gautami, a grieving mother whose child had died. Distraught, she approached the Buddha for help. He instructed her to find a mustard seed from a household untouched by death. As she searched from house to house, Gautami realized that suffering and loss were universal, leading her to acceptance and inner peace. Another powerful story is that of Angulimala, a fearsome bandit notorious for his violent crimes. When the Buddha encountered him, he did not react with fear or condemnation. Instead, he radiated compassion, engaging Angulimala in a conversation that ultimately led to his transformation. Angulimala abandoned his violent ways, became a monk, and attained enlightenment. These stories illustrate the Buddha's unwavering commitment to addressing the suffering of others, not through force or judgment, but through understanding and compassion. The Four Noble Truths in modern context. The Buddha's Four Noble Truths are as relevant today as they were 2,500 years ago. They provide a framework for understanding and addressing the universal experience of suffering. The truth of suffering, dukkha. In our fast-paced modern world, suffering manifests as stress, anxiety, and dissatisfaction. Whether it's the pressure to succeed, the fear of failure, or the endless pursuit of material possessions, suffering is a constant undercurrent in many lives. The truth of the cause of suffering. The Buddha identified craving and attachment as the root causes of suffering. In today's consumer-driven culture, this insight is particularly poignant. Our incessant desire for more possessions, more achievements, more recognition, often leaves us feeling empty and unfulfilled. The truth of the cessation of suffering. The Buddha's teachings offer hope. Suffering can be overcome. By letting go of attachment and cultivating contentment, we can experience true peace and happiness. The truth of the path, leading to the cessation of suffering. The Noble Eightfold Path provides a practical guide for living a life of integrity, mindfulness, and wisdom. The Noble Eightfold Path, a roadmap for modern living. The Noble Eightfold Path consists of 8 interconnected practices, each contributing to a balanced and fulfilling life. Right view. Understanding the nature of reality and the interconnectedness of all things. Right intention. Cultivating thoughts of kindness, compassion, and renunciation. Right speech. Speaking truthfully and avoiding harmful language. Right action. Living ethically by avoiding harm to others. Right. Livelihood. Choosing work that aligns with ethical principles. Right effort. Making a consistent effort to improve oneself. Right mindfulness. Developing awareness of the present moment. Right concentration. Practicing meditation to achieve mental clarity and focus. Each of these steps is elaborated upon with examples of how they can be applied in contemporary contexts, whether it's navigating workplace challenges, building meaningful relationships, or managing stress. The global spread of Buddhism. Buddhism's journey from the small kingdom of Lumbini to becoming a global spiritual tradition is a testament to its universal appeal. Emperor Ashoka's role in spreading Buddhism across Asia is particularly noteworthy. After witnessing the devastation of war, Ashoka embraced Buddhism, and dedicated his reign to promoting nonviolence, compassion, and ethical governance. He built stupas, inscribed pillars with moral edicts, and sent emissaries to spread the Dharma to regions as far as Sri Lanka, Central Asia, and Greece. In the centuries that followed, Buddhism evolved and adapted to different cultures, giving rise to various traditions such as Theravada, Mahayana, and Vajrayana. Each tradition preserved the essence of the Buddha's teachings while enriching them with local customs and practices. Modern applications of Buddhist teachings. Today, Buddhist teachings on mindfulness and meditation have found a prominent place in fields like psychology, healthcare, and education. Practices like mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR, and loving-kindness meditation are scientifically proven to reduce stress, enhance emotional well-being, and improve overall quality of life. For instance, consider a busy professional using mindfulness to manage workplace stress. By focusing on their breath and becoming aware of their thoughts, they can respond to challenges with greater clarity and composure. This practical application of ancient wisdom demonstrates the timeless relevance of the Buddha's teachings. Walking the Buddha's path. The Buddha's life is a powerful reminder that transformation is possible for anyone willing to embark on the journey of self-discovery. His teachings challenge us to look inward, confront our attachments, and cultivate compassion, not just for ourselves, but for all beings. In a world filled with distractions and division, the Buddha's insights offer a beacon of hope. They invite us to pause, reflect, and live with greater awareness and purpose. As you reflect on the Buddha's journey, consider the steps you can take today to bring his timeless wisdom into your life. Whether it's through a moment of mindfulness, an act of kindness, or a commitment to personal growth, each small step brings us closer to the path of awakening. And, as the Buddha's story shows us, the journey itself is transformative. The Buddha's legacy of compassion. The Buddha's teachings emphasize a profound yet practical approach to compassion, an acknowledgement of suffering in oneself and others, coupled with a commitment to alleviate it. Compassion, or karuna, is not just an emotional response, but an active way of life that bridges the gap between individuals and fosters unity. A striking example of the Buddha's compassion is the story of Sunita, a low-caste street sweeper. In ancient India, caste dictated one's social standing and opportunities, often leading to discrimination and exclusion. When Sunita encountered the Buddha, he expected rejection. Instead, the Buddha invited him into the Sangha, saying, "In the Dharma, all are equal." This radical inclusivity not only transformed Sunita's life, but also demonstrated that spiritual awakening is accessible to everyone, regardless of societal status. Modern parallels can be drawn to issues like racial inequality, poverty, and social division. The Buddha's approach reminds us that genuine compassion involves recognizing shared humanity and working toward solutions that uplift everyone. The role of mindfulness in overcoming modern challenges. Mindfulness, or sati, is central to the Buddha's teachings. It involves maintaining a moment-to-moment awareness of thoughts, feelings, and surroundings without judgment. This practice, though ancient, addresses many modern challenges, including stress, anxiety, and burnout. Take, for example, a working parent juggling responsibilities at home and in the office. Practicing mindfulness during moments of overwhelm. Pausing to take deep breaths or simply observing one's emotions can create a sense of clarity and calm. Scientific studies show that mindfulness reduces cortisol levels, improves focus, and enhances emotional regulation, underscoring its practical value in today's fast-paced world. The Buddha likened the untrained mind to a monkey swinging from branch to branch, restless and unfocused. Mindfulness tames this monkey mind, fostering peace and stability. This timeless metaphor resonates deeply in an era of constant distractions and information overload. Chapter 18. Letting Go of Attachments. One of the Buddha's most transformative teachings is the practice of letting go, or non-attachment. In modern society, where success is often equated with accumulation of wealth, possessions, or accolades, this concept may seem counterintuitive. Yet the Buddha taught that clinging to impermanent things is a source of suffering. Consider a person fixated on achieving a particular career milestone. While ambition is not inherently negative, an obsessive attachment to the outcome can lead to anxiety, stress, and disappointment if expectations are unmet. The Buddha's advice is simple but profound. Engage fully in the process, but release attachment to the result. This approach not only reduces suffering but also cultivates genuine contentment. Real-life stories further illuminate this teaching. Take the example of athletes who, after years of training, fail to win a competition. Those who practice non-attachment often find fulfillment in the effort itself, while others may be consumed by frustration. The Buddha's wisdom offers a perspective that values growth over outcomes. Chapter 19. Building a Global Community. The Buddha's vision extended beyond personal enlightenment. He sought to create a harmonious community where individuals could support one another on the path to liberation. This idea of Sangha, or spiritual community, is particularly relevant today as people face increasing isolation despite technological connectivity. For example, modern meditation groups, online forums, and wellness retreats serve as contemporary sanghas, bringing together individuals seeking mindfulness and personal growth. These communities provide a sense of belonging and mutual encouragement, echoing the Buddha's vision of collective practice and support. One notable historical example of Sangha building is the story of King Bimbisara. Initially skeptical of the Buddha's teachings, Bimbisara became a devoted follower and used his influence to establish monasteries and spread the Dharma. His actions demonstrate how leaders can create environments that foster collective well-being. Chapter 20. The Buddha's Timeless Wisdom in Action. The Buddha's teachings have left a profound imprint on modern approaches to ethics, leadership, and personal growth. Concepts like right action and right livelihood guide individuals and organizations toward ethical practices, promoting fairness, sustainability, and compassion. For instance, ethical entrepreneurs often draw inspiration from Buddhist principles, ensuring their businesses prioritize social and environmental responsibility over profit. Leaders who embody mindfulness and empathy create workplaces that value employee well-being and foster collaboration. The Buddha's emphasis on inner transformation as a precursor to societal change is particularly relevant in today's world. By cultivating self-awareness and compassion, individuals can influence families, communities, and even global systems, creating ripple effects of positive change. Chapter 21. Lessons from the Buddha's Final Days. As the Buddha approached the end of his life, his teachings took on an even greater sense of urgency and clarity. At the age of 80, he passed into parinirvana, the final stage of liberation, leaving behind a legacy of wisdom. Before his passing, the Buddha emphasized the importance of self-reliance, famously saying, "Be a light unto yourselves." This message resonates deeply in a world often characterized by external validation and dependency. It reminds us that true enlightenment comes from within, through personal effort and self-discovery. The Buddha's final words, "All compounded things are impermanent. Strive on with diligence," encapsulate the essence of his teachings. They serve as a call to action, urging us to embrace life's impermanence and commit to personal growth. The journey to awakening. Siddhartha, Gautama's transformation from a sheltered prince to the Buddha, a spiritual teacher revered across the globe, offers a timeless blueprint for self-discovery and inner peace. His teachings challenge us to confront life's uncertainties with courage, cultivate mindfulness and compassion, and let go of attachments that bind us to suffering. As we navigate the complexities of modern life, the Buddha's insights remind us that the path to enlightenment begins within. Every small step, whether it's a moment of mindfulness, an act of kindness, or a commitment to ethical living, brings us closer to awakening. The Buddha's story is not just a tale of one man's quest for truth. It's an invitation for all of us to embark on our own journeys of transformation. In a world filled with distractions and division, his teachings shine as a beacon of hope, guiding us toward a life of purpose, peace, and profound connection. Namo Buddhaya. Have you ever sat down in an exam room, staring at a question that you know you studied, but the answer seems to have vanished from your mind? It's a frustrating experience that many students face. Why does this happen? Why is it that no matter how hard you try, sometimes your brain just refuses to recall what you've learned? In this video, we'll explore what causes this sudden forgetfulness from a Buddhist perspective, focusing on the 5 mental hindrances that block our ability to remember. And, more importantly, we'll uncover a powerful tool, meditation, that not only helps you overcome these obstacles, but enhances your ability to retain knowledge. The 5 hindrances to memory. According to the teachings of the Supreme Buddha, forgetfulness, especially when studying, often stems from what are called the 5 hindrances. These mental blocks cloud our mind, making it difficult to absorb and recall information. Let's break them down. Sensual desire, kama chandu. This refers to craving or lustful thoughts. When your mind is preoccupied with these desires, it becomes impossible to focus on studying. Your mind is wandering somewhere else, fantasizing about things that have nothing to do with the task at hand. Anger, vyapada. Have you ever tried to concentrate when you're furious? It's nearly impossible. Anger heats up the mind, diverting attention away from studying. Instead of focusing on the material, your thoughts are consumed with rage. Sleepiness, thina mida. Feeling sleepy while studying is one of the most common challenges. When your mind is covered by drowsiness, nothing sticks. The knowledge simply doesn't have the energy to sink in. Restlessness and worry, udaka kukucha. Sometimes your mind is too restless, filled with anxiety or regret. You may find yourself constantly distracted by random thoughts, making it difficult to focus on your studies. Doubt, vicikiccha. Doubt about your abilities can be a major obstacle. If you're constantly thinking, "Am I good enough? Will I succeed?" then your mind is too occupied with these thoughts to absorb any new information. Connecting with personal experience. These 5 hindrances might sound familiar because they reflect universal struggles we all face. Think about that time you stayed up late cramming for a test, but your mind wandered, thinking about something completely unrelated. Or maybe you felt so anxious about how you'd perform that doubt clouded your ability to focus. In my own journey, I remember times when anger or frustration about something unrelated to my studies completely derailed me. I'd sit down with the intention to focus, but my mind was so distracted by emotions that nothing stuck. Over time, I discovered that meditation was the key to pushing through these barriers. How meditation helps overcome these hindrances. Buddhism teaches that meditation is the best remedy to quiet the mind and remove these hindrances. But how exactly does meditation help? Let me share some practical examples of how it works. Sensual desire. Imagine you're trying to study, but your mind keeps drifting toward thoughts about a vacation or a new hobby. Practicing mindfulness meditation can help you notice when your thoughts stray. When you become aware of your desires and bring your attention back to the present moment, your concentration improves. Personally, I've noticed that even just 5 minutes of breathing meditation helps me stay focused on what matters. Anger. Meditation also works wonders for anger. When you're furious, your thoughts spin out of control. But through meditation, you learn to recognize anger as it arises, allowing you to take a step back before it consumes you. For example, I once had an argument with a friend just before a big test. Instead of studying, I was fuming. A short meditation session calmed me down and allowed me to regain focus. Sleepiness. We all know that sleepy feeling when studying. I've found that a quick 5-minute meditation in the morning makes all the difference. Just focusing on my breath or doing a short body scan helps me shake off that drowsiness. It's like a mental caffeine boost that clears away the fog. Restlessness and worry. If your mind is restless, focusing on meditation can ground you. For example, I used to worry constantly about upcoming exams. My mind raced through endless what-ifs. But meditation taught me to stay in the moment. When I practiced loving-kindness meditation, focusing on sending positive thoughts to myself and others, I found that my mind settled down, and I could focus on studying again. Doubt. Doubt can paralyze you. Whenever I doubted my ability to succeed, my studies suffered. But meditation gave me the tools to manage this self-doubt. Through practicing compassion meditation, I learned to treat myself with kindness and realize that it's okay not to be perfect. This shift in mindset was a game changer. Let's dive deeper with a real-life scenario. I remember preparing for a crucial final exam in college. I had studied for days, but on the morning of the test, I was overwhelmed by anxiety. My mind was spinning with worry, and I could barely remember anything. I decided to pause for a moment, closed my eyes, and practiced a simple breathing meditation for 10 minutes. By the time I finished, my mind was clearer, my heart rate slowed down, and I felt more centered. As a result, I walked into the exam feeling focused and calm. The exam didn't seem as daunting anymore, and I remembered everything I had studied. So, what's the takeaway from all of this? When you study, it's not just about reading books or memorizing facts. It's about preparing your mind to be in the best possible state to absorb and retain information. The 5 hindrances, sensual desire, anger, sleepiness, restlessness, and doubt, are barriers that keep us from accessing the full potential of our memory. But by practicing meditation, even for just 5 minutes a day, you can calm your mind, push away these obstacles, and unlock your ability to remember what you've learned. Next time you sit down to study, Remember that it's not just about the time you put in, but the mental clarity you bring to the table. Whether you're battling drowsiness or self-doubt, a few minutes of meditation could be the difference between forgetting everything and acing your exam. Try it out for yourself. Commit to meditating for 5 minutes every morning before you start studying. You might be surprised by the results. And if you want to learn more about meditation and how it can improve your life beyond just studying, make sure to check out the other videos on this channel. The key to remembering what you study lies not just in effort, but in the state of your mind. Clear away the hindrances, and your mind will be a fertile ground for knowledge to grow.